Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Norma. So in today's tutorial we'll be learning how to make this pant trouser. So to start off, these are the calculations we need so that we'll be knowing how we're going to be folding our fabric. Your hip circumference, you divide it by 4, okay, which will give us 11.5 plus 1 inch for a seam allowance, which is 12.5. And your crouch extension, to calculate that, you're going to be dividing your hip circumference by 16, which will give you 2 points. For me, 46 divided by 16, 2.8, which is approximately 3 inches. So you take your 12.5 inches, which you have initially, plus 3 inches crouch extension, so we have 15.5. So we're going to be folding our fabric by 15.5. So let's dive right into the tutorial. So now we've gone ahead to fold our fabric into 15.5. You can see what we have there. So this is the starting line. I hope you guys can see that line there. So this trouser is going to be having a 1.5 inches band. So we are going to be starting our measurement from that 1.5 inches, okay? So first of all, we're going to be taking our hip depth measurement, which is our waist to our hip, okay, the fullest part of your hip. So now place your 1.5 on that line and measure what you have. Okay, for me it's 9 inches. So I measured my hip depth and I'm just going to be ruling that. Okay, now the next thing to measure is our crouch measurement. Okay, so to determine that, just look for a chair and sit down on a flat surface. Take from your waist to the point where the tape is touching the chair, okay, basically. So now come back, place your tape on that 1.5 and measure what you have for your crouch. So I've gone ahead to do mine and I'm just going to be making that into a straight line as well. So after taking my crouch measurement, I'm just going to be taking my thigh measurement. I'm just coming down from my crouch measurement about 3 inches. Okay, just rule that will be serving as my thigh. Okay, that's where I'll be taking my thigh measurement from. So now the next thing to do is measure your waist to your knee line, also maintaining that 1.5 inches, okay, for your band. Please do not forget, and measure your knee measurement, your waist to your knee. So now we're going to be measuring the full length of this trouser. Okay, just measure the full length. So I've gone ahead to measure mine. Okay, and I added about 1.5 to 2 inches for my hemming allowance, basically. So that's what I am just doing there. So I'm just going to move my camera closer so that you can see what we have at the hem. You can see, and I added 2 inches for my hemming allowance. So now back to the hip. So I'm just measuring this. Okay, this is my, just labeling this hip and my crouch and my thigh. Okay, then my knee measurement. Basically those are the 4 lines we have there. So on my hip, I'm going to be taking my hip divided by 4 and I'm going to place in the measurement there. I'll also take my hip divided by 4 on my crouch and take my hip divided by 4 on my waist as well. Just connect those points together to make a straight line. So now that I have this straight line, the next thing I'm going to be doing is taking my crouch extension. You know, from our measurement, my crouch extension was 3 inches, so that's what I took. So if you're on the smaller side, it will not be this big. Okay, you can use about 2 to 2.5 inches basically. So just mark your swift curve there, okay, to give you your crouch curve. Then come back to the waist, okay, taking from that straight line you have at the middle there. Measure your waist divided by 4, place it there, add 1 inch for your dart and 1 inch for your seam allowance. So that's what I just did there. I'm just going to be connecting this back to my hip, basically. So now I have gone ahead to connect this back to the hip. So now on my tie line, I'm going to be dividing it, looking for the midpoint. Okay, just look for the midpoint of that. Look for the midpoint all the way down so that you can divide your measurement evenly on both sides. Okay, just to balance it. Okay, so just connect the midpoint all the way down like so. Just take it all the way down. Then take your tie measurement. This is how you take your tie measurement. Take your tie measurement. Then what you have, you divide by 2. Okay, our tie, we're dividing it by 2. Okay, so now when you divide your tie by 2, whatever you get, you divide by 2 again. Okay, then distribute it. For me, my tie is 26 divided by 2, which is going to give me 13. That 13 inches, I divided it by 2, placing 7.5 on each side of the line. Okay, that is what I did on each side. You can see what I'm doing. Just place it like so, then connect it. Okay. If you want a tight pant, you just go ahead and take your knee measurement, okay, into your knee measurement, divide by 2 as well, then divide again by 2, placing that measurement on your knee. Just divide what you have by 2 first, then what you have by 2, divide it by 2 again, because you're going to spread that at both sides of the knee. Hope you understand. So what I have on the knee, I'm just going to transfer it to the hem, okay, of this pants, because I don't want it to be tight at the ankle area. So I'm just going to be transferring what I have on my knee all the way down. So when I have done that, I'm also just going to connect in a straight line and see what I am doing. So I'm just going to cut this out basically. So this is what we have. Just cut it out. So I'm done cutting this out. I'm going to be leaving this ½ inch here just to use it for my joining allowance at my waist area. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric again into 2. So to know how you're going to be folding this, okay, make sure you have at least 4 inches bigger than the front, okay, at least 4 inches wider than the front, okay. That is what I have here. You can use 5 inches to play safer, but at least the smallest you should have is at least 4 inches. So at the top area as well, so at both sides I have 2 inches. At the side I have 2 inches. At the midpoint I have 2 inches. So at the upper part as well, make sure you have at least 2 inches as well on that part. So for the back, at the midpoint there, I'm going to be coming in by 2 inches. When I've come in by 2 inches, I'm going to be replacing that 2 inches again at the side, okay. So at that midpoint, I'll be coming up by 1.5 inches, okay, because so that it can accommodate our bow. So from that point, I'm just going to be rolling a slanted line to meet the waist area, okay. It's going to be the same at the waist, the sides rather, but at the midpoint is going to be higher by 1.5. Then I'm also going to be placing 2 inches, extending my crouch by 2 inches for my back piece. You can see what we have, and yeah, I'm also going to be making that 2 inches at my sides as well, up to my hip area. Connect them together, then raise the midpoint up to connect, create another crouch for my back, the crouch for my back. We came in by 2 inch at that midpoint, so that's what I have done here. So now I'm going to be taking 2 inches all the way. You can take 1.5 from the tie, okay? Basically you can take 1.5, but yeah, I'm just going to take 1.5, then connect it back to the 2 inches I have. Okay, yeah, basically that's what I've just done there. You can see what I'm doing, just connecting like so. Then connect from your back crouch extension to midi tie. So it's going to be the same from the tie area at the midpoint there all the way down. So for my back, because there's going to be a zipper, I'm going to roll about 10 inches or 9 to 10 inches downwards, and I'm going to measure 1 inch, okay, 1 inch rather. So I'm just going to be connecting it to the 10 inch I measured. That will serve as my zipper allowance. So yeah, so now we are done with the drafting of our back. So I'm just going to be cutting it out exactly like so. Just going to cut this out like so. So when I get to this point, I'm going to raise it up, follow the initial line. Then when I get to the 10 inch for my zipper, I'll cut like so. So just going to cut out the sides. So now I'm done cutting out the back piece as well. You can see what we have. Yeah, so for the front, there's going to be pockets at the sides, okay? So now I'm just going to place my tape and measure about 7 inches downwards, then 2 inches width from the side, okay? And I'm just going to connect into a slanted line, okay? The 2 inches I measured on the waist, then back to the 7 inches length, okay? I'm just going to cut it out like so. So you can see the slanted part we have at the front. Before cutting out that pocket, please take away your back piece first. So now I've gone ahead to cut a piece of two pieces of fabric. You can see what I'm doing. So it is by length. The length is longer than the width, okay? Just basically play with it depending on how wide you want your pocket to be. So I'm going to bring my front bodies, align it, make sure the sides and the upper part are aligned properly, and cut it out exactly like so. So now I have 2 pieces for my trouser, okay, one for each pocket. So I'm just going to be keeping this aside, then come back to it later. So to start off, I'm just going to bring in my front piece like so, and I'll be joining the crouch together first, okay? You can see what I'm doing, and I'll be stopping about 1 inch or half an inch before the end. You can see I'll just stop at that point, okay? Just measure your 1 inch. I'll just stop at that point. So I'm just going to be stitching it down. We'll come back to that. I'll tell you guys the reason why I did that. So for my zipper, I'm going to be taking half an inch as well. I'll be making a gather stitch all the way to my zipper allowance, okay? Then from that point, I'll tighten my stitch all the way down, and I'm also going to be leaving 1 inch before the end. So I've gone ahead to do that. You can see what we have for my front and my back piece. I've done exactly the same thing. So I'm going to be bringing my pocket. I'll be bringing one of the pockets, then I'll be placing that area that I cut out as exactly as the I'm just going to be stitching it by half an inch like so. Okay, placing it in a way that is aligned, the waist is aligned and the sides is aligned. I'll do the same thing to the other side of my pocket as well, facing the right side, facing each other, and I'm going to be stitching it down by 1/2 inch. So I'm done stitching it down. I also went ahead to top stitch. When you're top stitching, you push the seam to the pocket area and just top stitch on it. That way your stitch doesn't have to show at the front. Okay, it just shows inside. Now I'm going to be aligning it like so, making sure the sides are aligned and the waist area is aligned properly. You can see now we've replaced the part which we cut out. So I'm just going to be stitching this down, securing it down at the waist. But before I secure it down at the sides, I'm going to be raising it up and stitching that down part. Then I'll secure it down together at the sides as well. By then I've created my pocket. I'll do the same thing to the other side as well. Push all inside. Please watch this carefully. I'm just making this video fast, if not it will be too long and I don't want the video to be too long. Okay, secure it down at the waist, secure it down at the down part, and also secure it at the waist, at the sides. Okay, so let me quickly do that and come back to show you guys. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that. You can see what we have. Our pocket is ready, neatly sewn and looking so neat. So now I'm about to hold the darts. Okay, I'm going to be using my bust band measurement for my darts. So for me, my bust band is 8 inches. That's from one nipple to the other. So I'm going to be dividing it by 2. So 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So I'm going to be placing my tape on the midpoint like so and measure 4 inches on both sides. So I'm going to be coming down by 4 inches as well, which is the length of my darts. Okay, so once I've done that, I just measure the length of my darts, 4 or 4.5, whatever is fine. So I'm just going to measure my 4 inches, and at both sides of the darts I'm going to be coming out by 1/2 inch on both sides. So now I'm going to be connecting that 1/2 inch back to the length of my dart. Okay, just measuring 4 inches as well here, just so I get a straight line. So I'm going to be connecting that point together, the midpoint. Then at the sides I'm going to be connecting the 1/2 inch all the way down to my dart leg. So basically that is what I am doing here. So once I'm done doing that, I'll just stitch it down like so. I'll repeat the same step at the other side of the dart as well, 1/2 inch on both sides of my dart, then measure it, take it back to the length of my dart. I'll quickly go and hold this. I'll do the same thing to the back piece. That is why I actually use the gather stitch to hold down my zipper, so that when I'm doing this I know how to take my measurements. Okay, so I'm just going to measure my 4 inches that, and I'll go over to the sewing machine to stitch this down. So I've gone ahead to hold my darts, and this is what I have. I'm going to be placing on each other now. I want to join both pieces together. So I'm going to be bringing my the crouch area together. This is the point which we have our 1 inch. We did not sew it to the 1 inch because I want that place to be very flat. Okay, that's the reason for this. So I'm just going to be taking to the sewing machine from that 1 inch which you left, just stitch all the way down. Okay, just stitch all the way down. Okay, basically you can see what we have. So by that you can open that seam and give it a good press. You have a very neat finishing there. So at the sides as well, I'm going to be taking my tape measure and measure my waist divided by 2 now. Okay, so that I know the actual measurement I'm going to be using to stitch this down. Okay, whatever you do, just take your waist measurement divided by 2, you stitch it down, to go to your hip and do the same thing. Okay, the rest measurement can be, because this is a free pant, okay, it's not something. So just basically take your, you can see what we have at the under part. You can open this up and just iron it, and you have a very neat, it will not be tacky or somehow underneath. So now I'm just going to be going ahead now to open my zipper allowance and take the measurement for my band, and so that I'll know what I'm going to be using to cut out my band. Now I've gone ahead to open up my zipper allowance, so I'm just going to bring in my tape measure and I'm going to be measuring this all the way round, so that way I know the measurements I need for my band. So I've gone ahead to do that. So now I have used that measurement to cut out a piece of fabric which I'm going to be using for my band. So now on fold I have 2 inches. I've gone ahead to attach my interfacing to this band because I want more structure. So when you open this up, it's actually 4 inch. So once I finish stitching, once it's folded, it's 2 inches. So once I finish stitching by with half an inch, it becomes 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm going to be placing on the right side of my trouser. I'm placing on the right side because I actually want to sew my seam on the right side. So I'm just going to take the sewing machine right now and stitch it down using half an inch. So I'm done stitching that down. So now that we have this, the next thing I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be flipping this on top and folding it like so, because this is the wrong side right now. So I'm just going to go in with my pins, fold it, then stitch in between that line. That way when I stitch in between that line, you don't get to see the seam. Okay, I'm actually sewing it in the ditch inside. Okay, I'm going to quickly do that and hem the down part of my trouser. Then you can see my band, you can see how neat this is looking. So now you can see you can't even see any seam at the right side. So I'm going to go in and attach my zipper, and our trouser is ready, and also hem the down parts, and our trouser is ready. So guys, this is the finished look of our trouser. Guys, if you have watched up to this point and you're yet not subscribed, please try and subscribe. Click on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, a like, and also turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.